And early this morning it was only 6, but it didn't feel like 6. But now it feels a lot less than 51 for you. It's 11 for me, which is a little chilly. We've just made it into double figures, so that makes it a little cold. Hi, Kathy. Lovely to have you in class. Lovely to
Right.
see you. Where are you from, Kathy?
I'm in Illinois, and
And,
you could send some rain because it's really dry here, and it's
ah,
been it's been hot, humid. We've had a heat advisory the last 4 or 5 days, I guess.
mhm.
And I go according to the ozone because of the air quality, and it was orange today. But I haven't been out of the house for a week, and everybody that I usually takes me places um, has been gone or busy. And so my friend called me earlier, and she's like, "You want to go get something for dinner?" And I was like, "Okay." Now I really didn't want to go because I had classes all scheduled, but she offered, and I was like, "Okay, let's go." So we just got home. So I was like, "Oh, good, I'll have enough time to get on yet."
Oh, I'm so glad that I was able to get no, I don't want to make PJ. Where did Todd disappear to? I want to make Todd a co-host. There we go. Right, Todd is my co-host. Todd is here from Get Set Up, and he's here to help us with any technical things we have. Yeah, no, it is our rainy Susan. Um, it is our rainy season here. Oh, why does, yeah, it does. Okay. It is our rainy season here. So we are, but we seem to have a little more today than usual. Ah, here's PJ. PJ was with me last time, which I hope he's brought some pictures with him. We started last time with, and I've decided to stick to where I am today. And then next time I do road trip, I will have a new road trip to a different part. I choose places that I've been to that are not necessarily the beaten track. If you talk about going to South Africa, you hear, oh, Cape Town, oh, Johannesburg, and oh, Kruger Park, but that's about where it ends. And so I've chosen to go fairly close to one of those, but not within it. And I'm hoping that showing you this via Google Earth, we're going to be able to see a little of the countryside. And then I want you to give me your road trips, and I'm going to try and Google Earth them as well. We managed to last time find the salt flats in Utah. We found Goa. We found a beautiful floating temple in the middle of a lake. So we are going to find some of the road trips that you have done as well. Hi, Joan. Lovely to have you in class. Where are you from, Joan?
From Hyderabad.
Oh,
I'm from
oh,
Hyderabad in India.
yes, it's early in the morning for you. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7:30, 7
Yes.
thereabout.
8:30 in the
8:30.
morning. It's
Yeah,
the
you're
ideal time to travel mentally.
oh, fantastic. And Anil, where are you from, Anil? Or Millie?
Yeah,
Hi.
good morning. I am John. I am from Baroda, Gujarat, India.
Also from India. Lovely to have you in class with us as well. And Millie?
I'm here in Houston, Texas. I have not taken any road trips. I'm hoping to get some ideas now that I can get out of the house.
Oh, well, I'm sure Christine will have some for you. She's just been doing travel solo and things like that. So I'm sure she's going to have some for you. And PJ, you are from Delhi, right? I think that's where PJ was from. He'll come back on in a minute. Right, let's begin. I'm going to start sharing the screen. There are due to be others, but they can just pop in and join us as we go along. So let's start. All right, road trips. Where have you been? I'm hoping we're going to learn a whole lot of places that we thought about or we've heard about, but we've never been to. And now is the time to either go virtually or actually physically get into that car and travel. It's summertime in America, so it's nice and warm for you to travel, maybe a little too hot at times. And for us, it's very cool to travel. So we will see. Now, a little bit of the housework before we begin. As you all know, we learn from each other. Ideally, with your cameras on, it makes it great for me to see your faces. But if you can't, or you've got curlers in your hair or whatever, then if you just interact, that's also great. If you're joining by live streaming, well, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to watch. You're not going to be able to share your road trips with us. So maybe if you can join us, it doesn't cost you anything, and then actually be able to be in class with us. And lastly, Get Set Up's not paid to promote products. Not that I've got products today even mentioned, I don't think, in my class. A little bit about me. My name is Sue. I live in Perth, Australia. Been here for 3 years now. Used to live in South Africa, born and bred there. And that's where we're traveling to today. I've been an educator for 44 years, but now I just share ideas and thoughts and have fun with my peers, which for me is fantastic on Get Set Up. I enjoy creating and making things, including puzzles, and have a great love of animals. That's why I used to do an animal series. And I love being a guide. So let's begin. Our objective today is to find out, what is a road trip? Have you ever been on a road trip? My little road trip, I'll do a short road trip, and then I want to hear your road trips, because that's what we're here for. We're here for your road trips, to be able to enjoy them. So, what is the definition of a road trip? A road trip is a long distance journey on the road. Typically, road trips are long distance travels by automobiles, but I've seen, I suppose a camper van is an automobile, but I've seen many people on motorbikes. They are also traveling and doing wonderful road trips on their bikes through areas that they possibly would never have done at a different time. So anytime where there's that beautiful road ahead and you are just heading out, that is a road trip. So now, who has been on a road trip? Christine, you've been on a road trip. Where have you been on your road trip?
I live in Seattle, Washington, which is the west coast of the United States. And all four grandparents lived in South Dakota, which is in the center of the United States. So we would get on a Greyhound bus, which was pretty bad because it didn't have air conditioning, to travel across Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming to get to South Dakota. And we're talking about hot temperatures on a bus with no air conditioning. So that's one of them. I've done a lot, but that's what I did every summer.
Oh, well, maybe we will go to Dakota and have a look at Dakota.
That's where Mount Rushmore is, where they have the 4 presidents.
Okay, so we'll definitely, with our Google Earth, go there. All right. And Kathy, what sort of road trip have you done?
I've done a road trip to Apache, let's see, what is it? Apache Flats. I think it's called Apache Flats, Arizona. And that's, I don't know how to describe it. It's not central in the United States, like Illinois is central. It's more like
Southwest.
Is it Southwest? Okay, thank you.
Well, there we go. We're going to go look for it on Google Earth. So that'll be awesome. And we'll have a look around.
Yes, Tortilla Flats in I think it's called Apache Junction, Arizona.
Right, we will type that one in and see where we end up. And Joan, where have you traveled?
Last year, just before the pandemic, I was in Florida where my daughter lives. And we had a lovely road trip all from Orlando right down to the Keys of Florida. It was a
Wow.
beautiful trip, water on both sides, and the road going, it was like a roller coaster, and the freedom, the air, it was so wonderful.
Oh, that is awesome. Right. Okay. So that is great. And Anil, where have you been? Anil, where have you been?
Yeah, basically, I have done my road trip in India, and for the last 3 years, I didn't had any road trip. But before that, I used to have road trip all through the years. Means every year at least one road trip I used to have. The maximum distance, maybe the road trip I have traveled might be something around 1,000 to 1,200 kilometers.
Well, long road trip. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. We'll have a look at one of your places too today. Millie, you said you haven't been on a road trip, but maybe you can think of where you would like to go and we can have a look at that. And I don't mind your curlers.
Well, now that I think about it, my daughter and I flew into Las Vegas, then drove to a point in Utah, on the way stopping at Hoover Dam. And then we drove down to Zion National Park, where she was doing a run the rim or something. She's a trail runner. So we did
Oh.
do that, and then reversed course somewhere in there. That was maybe 3 years ago, though.
Oh, well, at least you've done your road trip.
Utah and Grand Canyon, Zion, all that is beautiful, beautiful. So I guess that counts as a road trip.
Definitely.
It does. And
Definitely.
the Grand Canyon, the places she mentioned are beautiful and easily show up on Google Earth.
Good. We will have a look at those. Oh, great. And PJ Michael, what
Yes.
are you going to talk about today?
Yeah, so last time I mentioned I had driven from Delhi to Mumbai, going to Udaipur where we saw the Lake Palace.
That's right.
Apart from that, because I am from Delhi, I have traveled up the roads to the hills. So we have Shimla, a hill station, Nainital, Pithoragarh, there is Mussoorie, Dharamshala, so many places around Delhi, which are all around 10 hours drive up the hills.
Up the hills. Oh, maybe you can give us one today and we can go and have a look. That sounds exciting. Great. And Hannah, where have you been?
Hi, good morning, Sue, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, I love traveling. So I remember the fondest memory which I have is of Madrid. So I had been to Spain for, I think, roughly 5 years back. But that's a European country. But in India, my last visit was to Mahabaleshwar, a small hill station.
Right. Well, let's hope we can find that on our thing. Unfortunately for you, PJ, I didn't think you'd be awake. So I decided to stay with where I was from last time. But next time I've already planned the next trip and it's in a different area altogether. So let's have a look and see where we are going today. Now, today, oh, wrong one. Sorry, clicked on the wrong one. Fingers are quicker than they should have been. There we go. Today, we are going to an area called Mpumalanga. Now, Mpumalanga is an area used to be called Eastern Transvaal, and it is on the border of the Kruger National Park. And today, we are going to the third largest canyon in the world. The first is the Grand Canyon. The second one is the Fish River Canyon, which is also in South Africa. And then this canyon is a green canyon. It is not dry at all. It is covered in thick bush and forestation, and it is a really, really beautiful canyon, and it's known as the Bladder River Canyon. And this is where we're going to be traveling to today. So without further ado, let's have a look at where we're going. First place we're going to stop is a place called God's Window. And it's called God's Window because the fall from the top down to the bottom is 700 meters, which is 2,300 feet. So you have this massive drop down and you can see for miles and miles and miles from there. Sometimes, as you can see in the picture, you can go to God's Window and see nothing because you are up in the clouds, you're up in God's land, and you're seeing nothing through those clouds. But when you can see through them, it is absolutely amazing. And within that area, there are some of the most beautiful falls that fall through there. That is the Berlin Falls there. And the Berlin Falls are the highest falls in the area, and they're 300 feet or 94 meters. So they're pretty high as falls go. We have a number of falls along the way. But what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at God's Window now. So let's have a look at it from Google Earth. All right, here we go to God's Window. Just move this out of the way. Whoopsie. Now you can see that drop that you're looking at. Look at that amazing drop down. You've got an awesome drop that just goes wherever it wants to go. And in fact, if I click back to God's Window again with the little thing in front, unfortunately, but let it just flow. Watch what you're seeing. You're going down and then you're looking out, and it is green. It's a really beautiful green area that you are able to see from God's Window. And just some of the pictures that you can see from God's Window. Here we go. These are sent in by people who have been to the area. And so you get a random series of pictures. This is some of the falls. There's the view. Now look at that magnificent view that you are looking at. You're looking out over the mountains. You're looking out over the Drakensberg Mountains, which run right around South Africa. And they're called different ranges, but they're all part of the same series of mountains. And so you can really see forever. That's why it's known as God's Window. So I just want to find there's one other picture I'm hoping to find. No, I don't think it's coming. As I say, you get what you get when you are doing it. Right, let's just head back to the beginning
Sue,
of that.
Can I ask a question?
Mm.
So is this a place where people can hike into, or is it?
Yes.
Yes, you can?
Oh, yes. You can hike into it. You can hike around it. You can, there are many trails, and we'll go on some of those trails now where people go. But look at the magnificent bush and the mountains that are there. And we're coming across some of the most amazing places in there. Now, once you've gone through God's Window, you start heading downwards towards the Bladder River Canyon. And this canyon is the third largest canyon in the world. It's 17 miles long. And you can see how it winds in and out and round. It's a very windy river. And then the canyon is where you find beautiful things like the potholes, which we're about to go and visit as well. It's unlike the Fish River and the Grand Canyon. It's known as a green canyon because of its subtropical features that it has. And you can see, you go around, you can go on a boat, into the river. I mean, look at that. You are now passing through this amazing canyon. And then you can climb on top and have a look at it from above. And everybody can go walking. Then there is a place where the water can go down a weir. Oops, every now and again you get that. And here you've got a view out of this amazing river and canyon. And one of the things we'll look at shortly are these 3 round mountains or caps of mountains that have a history all of their own. So they are amazing little mountains that we have with the cap. So let's now go and see. We'll come back and look at some more pictures of the Bladder River Canyon, but we're now heading along, and we were speaking about the 3 rondavels. So now we're heading to these 3 mountains that are here. They are very interesting. They are shaped like an old, the natural, oh, I don't want to say that, the indigenous people huts, the huts that people actually lived in the area and still do. They are the traditional huts. They started off being flat and ended up being pointy. So now what you do have is the 3 of them. They're called the 3 rondavels, and they are very well known. Don't confuse them with another set of 3 rounded mountains just like this called the 3 Sisters. But they're in a completely different part of the world. They're in the deserty part. Now, what they believe is that the flat mountain to your right has been named after the chief who, in 19th century chief, Marapi. And the 3 rondavels are his naughty wives, that he had to separate them into their own rondavels. They got up to all sorts of mischief, these girls or wives, because remember, in the African tradition, you can get married at 13. So they're still young. They're still young people. And so they got up to all sorts of mischief. So those are for his 3 mischievous wives. And the first one represents the oldest one, and that's the flat-roofed rondavel. Rondavel means round house. And the second one has got a slightly raised roof. And the last one is the traditional one that we see these days, the grass-roofed houses. They're called a thatch-roofed house. When I was living in South Africa, I lived in a thatch-roofed rondavel. My house was round, and I lived in my round house, and it was lovely. I had a round cottage that Michael and I lived in between Johannesburg and Pretoria, in a little city, a little mini city in between. But it's got a lot of rural, and we were in the rural part of it. So this is probably the most iconic view of the Bladder River Canyon. You can see how the rocks rise up on either side of it and how the river winds its way through it. And of course, living on top of the mountain as the chief, he was able to see if anybody came from Swaziland, which is another, it's not South Africa, it's an area that's entirely independent and never been part of South Africa, called Swaziland. And they had marauding people who used to come and take their cattle and so on. And so there were fights between the different ones. So from his vantage point up there, he was able to see if anybody was heading towards his land. And so he was able to stay there. So these are the 3 rondavels. Close up, you can climb through there, but most people rather will take, there are ways of getting up from a different side and approaching it from above and looking down, rather than trying to climb up. But there's no reason why you don't climb up. Oops, we've got some strange pictures coming through. There's another one of the 3 rondavels. You never quite know what's going to come up as our photos. Right. From the Three Rondavels, we head down to Burke's Luck Potholes. Now, these are the strangest formations you have ever seen. I loved climbing in and out of them. In this area, there was gold discovered. Alluvial gold was discovered, and it became a very, very well-known, very liked place altogether. And the Bergsluck potholes are actually come from the erosion of water. When there's a lot of water and sand, it would come down at speed and then it would swirl. And the swirling motions over thousands of years, remember Africa's a very old continent, the swirling motion coming through the narrow space of the canyon, the water then spun. And so you've ended up with these really, really interesting potholes. Now, I'm hoping if I can get it right, if I can get my little man to walk down, I will be able to get to the one I want to look at now. Okay, I didn't hit the right one, so let me just take the little man out. There's one in particular I'm aiming for. Pick him up. Now, the two rivers meet. That's where the two rivers meet. So it's this dot or it's a dot next to it. I can never guess which of the two it is. Let's hopefully this is the right one. No, this is the second one, but it's okay. This shows you a little where the canyon actually gets quite thin, where two rivers meet within the canyon. And then there's the last, go back and grab the other one now, which is the one I wanted in the first place. Must have been that one there. Okay. Be nice. Give me the one I want, please. Aha. I think this is the one I'm looking for. No. Oh, did I go back to my first one? There are some of the potholes. You can see some of the potholes there. That's like holes in that the rocks, this is where the alluvial diamond gold was found, in these rocks here. Now I want to go back here and just see. No, not Bladder River Canyon. I want Three Rond. No, I don't want Three Rondavels. I want Bergsluck potholes. I want to have a look at the potholes. There are some beautiful rock formations here, very different to other places in the area. You have these, you can see it looks like somebody has taken one of those boring machines and actually bored out the rock, but it's all natural. It's been totally borne out like this. Where's there? That's the best one. Look at that. Look how those rocks have really been dug into, and this we could go and climb in amongst these rocks and climb up them and over them, and I love playing in that was my best. If we ever went down to go to the Kruger Park, we would stop at Bergsluck potholes because I liked the potholes, and then we would go and spend a morning climbing in and out of the potholes. Nowadays, I don't know if people are allowed to do it any longer. I think they stay further up. But when I was younger, we had so much fun climbing in and out and round these beautiful potholes as we went. So that just gives you an idea of there's a bit more of those potholes where they've been dug away. It's quite amazing. But people can come. There's another one. Look at those potholes there. They actually go next to each other. So you can climb out of one and into another. And sometimes there's water in them, sometimes there's not. And so you could sometimes you ended up swimming to the next one. You had to be adventurous. If you weren't adventurous, then you just sort of sat on the edge and looked at the rocks. Very boring, as far as I was concerned. Now, Bergsluck was named after a gentleman named Tom Burke, and he was the first person to discover the alluvial gold in the area. And that started an incredible gold rush to that particular area. So these are just some of the places that we saw while we were traveling in that area on our way to the Kruger Park. You can, from God's window, you can see the Kruger Park, and you can see that far that way. You can see so far in the other direction. It's amazing where you can see. But I hope now that you enjoyed my little trip around the area of Mpumalanga. Now, next time I'm also taking you somewhere that's not always well known to show you some other parts of the country. I'm going into the deserty part, and we've got an area called the Little Karoo, and there's some fascinating little towns in there, including a station called Mikey'sfontein, where the first trains used to stop. But I will do that for the next trip. Now it's your turn to come up with places that we can go and visit. All right, Christine, where would you like to go? Where's one of your places?
Well, I think if you want to start in Seattle,
Seattle,
where I
okay.
am,
Right, so let's just
it's
get
Seattle,
into Google Earth
Washington.
and head to Seattle. Just check my spelling as we go along. Now I want to get out of here. I want to start a new one. So I'll just
You're
get out
doing
of
great.
there.
You're doing great navigating Google Earth.
Trying. No,
You're
I don't want
doing
to go
great.
to
I'm
recent.
learning.
I need to get rid of this so that I can see where I'm going. There's my little head. There we go. So we want to go to SEA. Is it double T? Yeah.
It is. There
I'm
it is.
dyslexic. I'm dyslexic, so please excuse me.
Oh,
I've
no-
always been
No
dyslexic,
problem.
but it's never
okay.
stopped me doing anything. So out we go, and in we go to Seattle. Right.
So you can see we're surrounded by water.
You
And if you move in close enough, if you put in the Space Needle, that's probably the most well-known thing in Seattle from the 1962 World's Fair, and then we'll go to Mount Rushmore. So if you put in the Space Needle.
Space Needle. Space Needle. There we go. Space Needle. All right, Space Needle.
I think the Broad Street one should be okay.
Broad Street.
It's the first one. The first
one. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's go and have a look at that space. Whoa. There we go.
There you
and
go.
We can even walk the little man. He can go and stand right at the bottom of the Space Needle. There he can.
And
Let's pop him there.
That's 600 feet. So you'll have to convert it to those of you that are metric system.
Well,
but that gives you an idea how big it is.
700 meters, 600 feet is 300 feet is 94 meters. So about 200 meters nearly.
So if you can go to the top of the Space Needle, you'll be able to see all of Seattle and the views. It's pretty unbelievable.
Wow.
Because we're all water and mountains. So if you get on top of the Space Needle for the view.
Well, let's see if we can. Let's go back out of there and see if we can get to the top. Yep, we can get to the top. Let's put him on the top of the Space Needle. We should be able to see what
there you go. Yeah, you're on to, well, then you went back to the park.
Bottom. No, I want to be on the top of the Space Needle. Let's find out where he can go on top of the Space Needle. He can go there. Wait. Maybe not that one. Maybe that one. Maybe that's the one we need to be inside the top of the Space Needle. Yeah, looks like, there we go.
There you go.
Wow.
So it has, you can see it as a place. It actually has a glass floor.
Yeah.
So they put in the glass floor. So you can see that's called Puget Sound, which is connected to the Pacific Ocean. So if you can get it to look out towards the water. Yeah. So that's Seattle, all on water.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at Mount Rushmore and let's find the next person
so Mount
after
Rushmore,
that.
Yep. Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota.
Right. Mount Rushmore. Let's clear that and go to Mount
So you can put just, yeah,
Rushmore.
that's fine.
Rushmore,
M-O-
Rushmore.
That's it, in South Dakota. There you go, National Memorial. If you go to the first one,
First one.
Yeah, let's
Right.
try that.
Right, so we're leaving Seattle and we're heading out to Mount Rushmore, quite a distance away.
Yes.
And there is Mount Rushmore. We are going to go, I'm sure, in a complete circle, and we'll be able to eventually see the faces on the
Yep,
other
you're
side.
spinning around.
of-
You're almost there.
We're almost there, and there are the famous 3 heads or 2
There are
heads.
actually 4.
4 heads.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
There
There-
are the 4 heads of what we are looking at around Mount Rushmore. Wow. That is magnificent there.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. So we've got Mount Rushmore where we can stand and have a look at, you stand at the base, I presume, and
You
look
can
up.
see how far, it's a long way from the base to look up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay. Wow. Thank you, Christine, for that.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, let's have a look. Let's try. Who would like to be next? PJ, Anil, who would like to be next?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, PJ, what do you want to take us to?
I could take you to a place called Daman. Daman.
Can you spell it?
D-A-M-A-N.
D or Z?
No, D-A-M-A-N.
A-M-A-N. Daman. Okay. Let's have a look. Am I right?
It's yet to come out. Yeah.
Okay.
The first one.
Right.
The
The first.
one, yeah.
Oh, whoopsie. Went to the wrong one. Well, let's just go back to where we were. Oh, no, I don't want Mount Rushmore. I want Daman. D-A-M-A-N. All right, the first one. All right, let's have a look at Daman. Out we go from where we are in America, and we are heading to the other side of the world to Daman. Okay, so here is Daman. Is a city in the territory of Daman and Diu on the Indian west coast.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow, look at that. Now, is that beach that we are seeing it before the sea? Is that
Yes,
a
yes.
big beach?
It's a big beach, and this is a very
River?
old Portuguese town. Not so much visited, but people, when I traveled from Delhi to Mumbai, this came on the way. I particularly made it a point to go and see this place.
Is that
If you want, I
did you
can-
say the monastery?
There's a Dominican monastery there, a few
Yep.
churches, including one church where the services are held in Portuguese even today.
Goodness me, right. Well, we've been out. There's the beach. Whoa, look at that. Isn't that
What body of water is that?
would
This
be
is
the-
Arabian Sea. Arabian Sea.
Arabian. Okay,
Oh,
thank
the
you.
Arabian Sea. I thought it would have been the Indian Ocean. I was way off. way off with where I was. Okay. Wow. There certainly are some, that water is beautiful and so much of it. And Shusan, I'm actually looking for that Dominican monastery. There we go. Let's have a look at the Dominican monastery. There it is. Wow. There's the ruins part
That's
of
it,
it.
yes.
Obviously old, very old.
Very old.
Very, very old monastery built with stones put together. A ruined church. Part of the magnificent structure of the convent of Dominican. I remember in England, I was up in I was north, and I went to a church that was built in the 10th century. It was amazing to see. And now this water, is this part of a river, PJ?
No, this is kind of a moat outside.
Oh, a
the
moat
fort.
around it. Okay. Yeah, a lot of places do build moats around it. I've noticed that in Bali as well. They've got moats around the big places of worship. Wow, that is amazing. All right. And who's got the next place? Who would like to tell me where they would like to go? Anil or Millie?
Well, I did go to Zion, but we never have been able to get back to Bryce Canyon.
Bryce Canyon. Let's go to Bryce Canyon. B-R-I-C-E?
BRYCE.
B-R-Y-C-E Canyon.
I hope I got that right.
Well, we'll soon find out.
Yeah,
Let's go.
that's correct.
Bryce Canyon in Utah. Right, let's go. We've left India. We're heading back to America. And here we are in Bryce Canyon. Whoa, let's have a look at the pictures of, ooh, look at that.
Very
Wow.
interesting rock formations from the pictures we saw.
All the different layers. Look at that. Wow. And so many little rocks perched on top of other rocks. That is fascinating. Bryce Canyon, right, National Park. Oh, wow. Also, you can see 4 miles. But the vegetation is very, very different to some of the others. There's your rocks again and your rock formations. Oh, I think you did a wonderful trip to Bryce Canyon. It's amazing how most of the canyons have these interesting rock formations that have been able to withstand the test of time. And that for me is fascinating. Wow, look at all of those. They are awesome. Pointy pieces. And why did the pointy piece stay and the rest disappear? They're made of the same rock. It's been through the same water. How come those bits were just that bit stronger to withstand the test of time? Oh, thank you so much, Millie, for taking us to Bryce Canyon. That was really beautiful. Oh, another place to put on your bucket list. Looks like those are people there. It looks like there are carved heads in there, or is that just my imagination? Where the white.
It does look like a family.
Another Mount Rushmore.
It does, exactly. It looks just like another Mount Rushmore there.
It's just nature carving.
Nature carving. Wow, that is awesome. Nature carving indeed. Right. Now, Joan, where would you like to go?
Let's go to Florida.
Florida, right. Whereabouts in
from,
Florida?
Orlando to the Keys of Florida.
Okay, let's do the Keys of Florida. K-E-Y-S, correct?
Yeah.
Keys of Florida, F-L-O-R-I-D. Probably Florida Keys would have been better.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Right, out from the canyon we go and head off to a different part, completely the Florida Keys. So here we are. We have the Florida Keys, and what a contrast in vegetation from the Bryce Canyon to the beautiful
waters.
water.
Yes.
Wow.
The Atlantic, yeah.
Cold. We used to have the Indian Ocean on one side of South Africa and the cold Atlantic on the other side. You always knew you didn't swim in the Atlantic. It was cold. You did, but it was very cold there. Wow. The beaches of Florida. And amazing sunsets.
Yes.
It's incredible how the sun sets over the water is always
and all these islands, there are so many, I don't know, so many hundreds of islands, all connected by the waterway, you know, the bridges which are connecting all these islands. You don't realize that they are different islands. You think they're little villages sort of, but they are actually islands.
That sounds almost like Venice in Italy. So, yeah. Wow, look at that.
And then we went crab trapping there.
Oh, yes. And how do you crab trap?
Some of our friends from there, they had, normally that is how one of their livelihoods, they set traps for
And
crabs
And then,
in the ocean. And
okay.
now and again they go and they try to catch their crabs, but they have to leave one claw behind. They're not, by law,
Oh,
they cannot take all the claws of the crab. They have to leave the major one claw.
oh,
They have to, yeah, break it and leave it back into the ocean so that it can rejuvenate.
I
Oh,
didn't know that.
oh,
Wow, we learn things every day. My belief is if I don't learn something every day, dig a hole and put the sand on top, because that's not worth living anymore if you're not learning something all the time. Wow, these are beautiful islands. Oh, and the pelicans, yeah. I must actually go and look for the pelicans. Well, I don't think I can do it before Friday, but we'll
And
see.
there are waterways as you go from each house to house. There are little waterways where they park their boats and they go out into the sea. And then
And
there
then
are so many of these sea creatures. I don't remember the name. Huge sea creatures. They are mammals. They come inside and then you're not allowed to feed them, because if you feed them, then it's not good.
they'll never leave.
Yeah.
They'll never leave again.
Yeah.
There's your crabs. Crabbing. Definitely. Wow. And of course, the big ocean liners come in, but what a beautiful sea. Right. Is there anybody else who has somewhere they would like to go before we stop?
Thank
Well,
you,
I'd like
Sue.
to tell, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, please.
I was going to say, we have, like, I live in Illinois, but we have a big, it's called the Gateway Arch in Missouri. That's just across the Mississippi River from us. And it's a big landmark thing. A lot of people come over and want to go up inside of it.
Is
Yeah,
it in St.
yeah.
Louis?
Yes.
Okay. Right, let's have a look. We take off again, and it's wonderful. We go out into space and we come back down. And we are able, whoa, look at that arch.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the arch. And you can go inside of it. It has like an elevator and little seats, and it goes up. And you can, has little windows at the top. You can look out overlooking everything on both sides. It's really cool.
Wow.
How many people fit in that
Um,
arch up there?
A lot of people, that part of the stores and stuff, they just redid the bottom part of where it is, and they have like a gift shop and a movie theater and stuff. And they have a oh, what do I want to say, planetarium type of thing where they can open up the sky and they show you the stars and stuff. It's really
Oh,
cool.
wow. I love these old steamboats. I remember steamboats when I was young, and I didn't expect to see steamboats amongst it. Wow. So we've now visited a variety of places. Thank you, everyone. It's been awesome. I've learned a lot from it. I hope you have too in
I've
our trip,
enjoyed
in
it, yeah.
our road trip. Well, my next road trip is into what they call the Little Karoo of South Africa, and we will go and see there. This Friday, we're learning about Perth, and I'll be showing you some different places in Perth itself, and so it's all very interesting indeed. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being in class. Thank you, Todd. That was awesome of you to be with us. Thank you. I hope to see all of you again. Oops, I suppose I better go back to, hang on, I better finish my sharing of my screen, because otherwise I will be in the doggy box. There's my blader, my 3-round doubles, and your road trip. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bucket
you so
list,
much,
birds
Sue.
in
It
my
was-
garden, trivia, lots of things for you to see. Have fun, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all again. Have a great day, evening, and day for those in India. You've joined me with that, so that is awesome. All right.
Thanks
Uh,
for world traveling today in an hour. This was fabulous. I loved it. Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you
Bye-bye.
all
Same
too.
here.
Thank you. Righto.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.